Welcome to Wesley Impact. I'm Keith Garner. Do you have a favourite sporting code and a favourite sporting team? Well, I'm certainly glad that you're able to be with us today. In Australia, it's football finals time. The AFL Grand Final was last week, and today is the NRL Grand Final. There's no doubt that sport has the ability to break through things that divide our community and encourage people to focus on the common goal of winning. Today, I'll be speaking with George Dansey, the chaplain from Parramatta Eels Football Club and chaplain of this historical club in Australia. George has made an impact there on the lives of players, coaches, administrators and fans alike. He's been at the club, I think, since 2011, but he'll tell us more about that in a moment. And in that time, he's been recognised as Club Man of the Year. So it's really breached a lot of gaps that might exist. So I'm looking forward to speaking to him on this very special Rugby League Day. We'll hear from Craig Gower and Deb Walton and the Wesley Impact Band as they join us to sing the Old Rugged Cross. And I'll share some thoughts on one of those challenging passages from Luke's Gospel regarding the nature of faith. At Wesley Mission, we've got a whole team of chaplains who go into areas of work as part of the Wesley congregational life. The work of showing God's love is all that is important to them, but it's not just limited to Sunday services. It's something they're called to do every day of their lives. I'd like to revisit today the look at one of our chaplains, Joe Garrett. Joe's been a colleague at Wesley Mission for a number of years and works tirelessly alongside the people whom she comes into contact with. Let's take a look at her story now.
I became a chaplain through actually starting at Wesley Mission in out-of-home care. The thing I love about being a chaplain is actually being able to come alongside of people, maybe in a vulnerable time or in a time of need, and actually seeing them come through the other side. I actually love seeing that. I love seeing or feeling like I've had a little part to play in helping someone get their breakthrough. And it could even be like a person that's come on staff and they don't know anybody. Me being able to connect them with a friend, I still feel like, oh, that's amazing. And I do love being a chaplain. I do love when I see people finding Jesus for the first time as well. And not forced by me, but by them asking questions and me being able to be a little bit of a bridge to them. A lot of our role is listening. We don't necessarily give answers to people, but we listen. We're like that support person that listens, that cares. I think you need to be a caring person. I think you need to be good with people. If you don't like people, you'll be a terrible chaplain because your job is people. The good, the bad and the ugly with people, that's our role. You know, on a typical day, I could start out a day doing a Bible study at a site. Then I may end up driving out to a team meeting where I bring the reflection or devotion. I could go from a team meeting to sitting in a park with a client going through a really tough time. I could then go from seeing a client to going and touching base with a staff person one-on-one. So every day is very different. People without a faith think they can't access a chaplain, which is totally not right on any level. And I think people are scared if they go and see the chaplain, they have to become a Christian or they have to find their faith, which again is not the heart of what we do. Our role is to support everyone, but my values and my integrity comes through my relationship with Jesus, but that's not enforced on the individual at all. I think sometimes there's a stigma if you see the chaplain you've got issues or there's something going wrong, which I don't think is always the case either. And I think, do you know what? Everybody at some point in time needs support. I know me, I need support at times. And I think sometimes the stigma can be, we don't want people knowing that maybe we need support for something, but yet I think a real strength of an individual is putting up your hand sometimes and getting that little bit of extra support. And I think sometimes when we're going through things or we're facing things, just being able to download with someone in a safe space, often that is the beginning to see a breakthrough. I don't think a chaplain necessarily has all the answers. I know I don't have all the answers, but I know as a chaplain that I'm a safe place. I'm a place of confidentiality, and I'm a safe listening ear. And I think sometimes the benefit is just feeling like you're not doing something alone. And I think we all go through things in life, and the worst thing to do is do it on your own. Having that extra person, or if you are going through something, whatever it is, just knowing that you've got the chaplain there if things are getting overwhelmed, and knowing there's a person that knows what you're actually going through. So if something does trigger something in you, you can quickly pick up the phone, debrief with the chaplain, and keep moving forward.
If you would like to learn more about Wesley Mission, visit wesleymission.org.au. You can find help in our community services, connect with our church and congregations, discover a volunteer role that suits you, stay up to date on the latest news and information, donate to support our work, and help make a positive difference in your community. You can also connect with us on social media and subscribe to receive the latest news and information about Wesley Mission directly into your inbox. Visit wesleymission.org.au.
So I invite you to be in touch with us if there's any way that we can help you or a loved one. This television programme is like the front doors of the Wesley Centre and all of our office and community hubs across the country. It's a way to connect with us and to access all the areas of care that we provide. The contact details are on the screen now. When we think of our favourite sport, we often think of the team we support or our favourite player. We might think about the coaches, the officials and the results. But do you ever stop and think about the support staff and the volunteers? Having been a chaplain for a period of time for a Premier League football club, I know something of what you see on the pitch has hundreds of people in many ways behind the scenes trying to make the very best. And I can assure you that role of a chaplain is an important role, often has to be done quietly, behind the scenes, without much song and dance, but it is important. To tell us more about this, I'm delighted to have Parramatta Eels football team chaplain, George Dansey. George, good to welcome you on the show.
Thanks for having me and happy grand final day.
Yeah, sure. Look, you've been at the Eels, is it 2011? Did I get the year?
Correct, yes, since 2011.
How did it come about?
I knew a couple of athletes, just touching base with them on and off, one-on-one. And so at that time, the previous chaplain was in a transitional stage. And so the athletes, the players actually, were telling the football managers, look, I've got a guy that could become a personal or great chaplain. And so I went into the club looking to catch up with him, but then the football manager came in and asked if he could have a chat with me. And so by the end of that, I was actually the official chaplain of the Parramatta Eels. Yeah,
sure. And you built that relationship up. Tell us some of the things that a chaplain does.
Well, a chaplain basically is like an encouragement and support behind the scenes. And so I'm basically catching up with the partners and kids behind the scenes, just as you said. A lot of the pressures that they deal with, the players, a lot of the stuff that they can't tell anybody, building that trust and consistently just turning up for twice a week or 3 times a week at training, just making sure that I'm actually there for them, not just for the players, for the office staff and for the coaching staff as well. I think that's quite vital in terms of I'm not just here for a specific group, but for a range.
And there are many revolving doors in sport, aren't there? I'm
Correct.
Sure that even in the time you've been there, you've seen managers come and coaches come and coaches
I've seen
go.
4 or 5 coaches come and go.
And that's a lot. And you sometimes have to be there for people in those kind of situations.
Correct. And I've touched base with the previous coaches we've had, and I've seen them around. And I think that's part of the role as a chaplain, because you're here for the long term, not just for the short term or a contract ends and you got to go. But I think you're here for everyone, from lead to the groundsman to the coaching staff. Yeah.
And when you're in that situation, how does faith inform what you do?
I tend to think of it as faith is my all. So I think of Jesus as being the servant. So I'm there just to serve and encourage and support. And I think from just being a listening ear and to see where I can fit in, I think that's vital. And I think everything that Jesus did pretty much served the community, which is my community sport and I love. So I run the water sometimes, and if need be, or help out with the messaging, or even now with the concussion, I help out with a doctor inside when they get in their test done.
Sure. Yes, I mean, we had a footballer in the club I worked for that nearly died on the pitch. In fact, he was dead for 40 minutes. And you'll probably remember the story.
Yes.
It was at Tottenham in a match there. So you're sometimes called to do things. What's the hardest thing?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think the hardest thing is just you deal with a lot. You deal with a lot, and the ability to just offload it to somebody. is vital. And I think that's the longevity of this role. If you have the ability to deal with a lot and then offload it to somebody in the right way, you can last a long time being a chaplain. Yeah.
And you certainly don't want to appear that you know the answer to every question that they'll ever ask, you know, but just to be there alongside people.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, it's grand final day. Your team's there. You're underneath it. I'm just creating a fictitious situation. You're there in that situation. I remember going to Wembley with our team.
Wow.
And you've got all that crowd. You're behind there. What do you say to the players when you get in contact with them on that day?
I just said, go out there and do your best.
Yeah.
We have a prayer group every single time, and majority of my time praying when they go out and play is just thank you, Lord, for the ability to play and to play at our best. Yeah. And I think that's more. I don't pray for a win or a loss, but just more.
I'm always pleased when I hear chaplains say that, you know, because what's the chaplain on the other side doing if you're praying to win?
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's important because the way you lose is a sign of being a decent player, isn't it? Really.
Exactly, and I think I deal with becoming a chaplain more with a loss than a win. Because when there's a win, no one really wants to.
No, they don't need you then, do they?
But then there's a loss or a contract negotiation downfall, a relationship breakdown. That's when you know the chaplain's more vital than ever.
Yeah, and it isn't necessarily just at Eels or Manly, dare we say that name?
No.
But it's not just there, it's the local people playing sport at the local level too.
And I think at the local level, where it be park football or park soccer, you're dealing with a lot too. A lot of kids that are coming from certain family situations that coaches now are starting to deal with, not just coaching, but dealing with family situations. And I think that's vital being a Christian, that you can actually speak into that situation.
Look, I'm always pleased to hear people who are prepared to be involved in their club, roll up their sleeves and get engaged. And so, George, we want to honour you. We want to ask that we can't pray for the Parramatta Eels to win every time, can we? Surely not. But what we can do is say that we hope that you continue to have an influence for good in the club that you become very much a part of.
Thank you very much.
Bless you, and thanks for coming on the show. Let's now welcome Craig Gower, Deb Ezzie-Walton, and the Wesley Impact Band, who are going to sing the old hymn, The Old Rugged Cross.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. In the old rugged cross, stained with blood so divine, a wondrous beauty I see. For 'twas on that old cross Jesus suffered and died to pardon and sanctify me. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross and I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown.
Over the years of Wesley Impact, Keith Garner has had hundreds of conversations sharing stories of hope, resilience, love and the Christian faith. Perspectives on Faith and Sport is a collection of inspiring and insightful conversations with people who are champions in their field, including Commonwealth Games gold medalist Deb Lovely, tennis great Margaret Court, Olympic swimmer Elka Whalen, long distance runner Eloise Wellings, Olympic gold medalist Duncan Armstrong, and two-time boxing world champion Nigel Benn. Each conversation shares a unique perspective on sport and the achievements of notable sporting greats, and collectively presents a broad cross-section of athletes and how their faith has changed their lives. Perspectives on Faith and Sport is the second instalment of a three-part series and is available now from Wesley Mission. To find out more, contact Wesley Mission on 02 9263 5555 or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
When Paul was writing to the young disciple Timothy, who was a kind of mentor, he encouraged him to enlarge his faith. This is no new theme, for in the gospel, the early followers asked Jesus to increase their faith. Let me read the context in which that request comes from Luke's Gospel, chapter 17, verses 5 through to 10. The apostles said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." He replied, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it will obey you. Suppose one of you has a servant ploughing or looking after sheep. Will he say to the servant when he comes to the field, 'Come along now and sit down to eat'? Won't he rather say, 'Prepare my supper, get yourself ready and wait on me while I eat and drink. After that you may eat and drink'? Will he thank the servant because he did what he was told to do? So you also, when you've done everything you were told to do, you say, 'We are unworthy servants. We have only done our duty.'" There's a great challenge in here, a challenge about faith to those early disciples. The second half of that passage there all relates to why we do things and how we do things. But the faith of the early church and the faith of the early disciples often centers upon some of the great themes, such as forgiveness. God's demand for them was great. It's no wonder the disciples went to Jesus and said, "Increase our faith. We've so much to do, so many places to go, so many messages to give. We're facing the fact that we're persecuted. Some of us are being cast out of our homes." In the early church, that was the kind of thing that was happening. So you can see these words speaking into a context and out of a context. And I suspect the theme of forgiveness is one that stretches each of us as we seek to understand what it means to follow Jesus Christ. Other times when you go to God and you say, "Increase my faith, because I'm not sure that I can cope with all that's before me." The sheer weight of work, the sheer demands that are being made. The power of faith is described in terms of one who had the faith the size of a mulberry or a mustard seed. As Christians, we affirm the fact that faith is the most powerful force in all the world. Now, when you look back over time, it's inspired many to do selfless things. Many people have given themselves to causes. They've given themselves to service. Week after week on this program, we meet some amazing people who have given themselves to do things for other people. And that's all been because they've been inspired by faith. Faith that often has been so very small, but it's also enabled people to put their trust in others. Some people have had challenges to face. When I think of folks that would leave their home, leave their possessions, and go to either the other side of the world or into a situation that is very, very difficult, to do it, they've had to know what it is to trust. And trust is so important. So when the disciples go to Jesus and say, increase our faith, it could be that they're saying that because we've got so much to do and we can hardly begin to imagine how we're going to do it. It becomes the way in which we respond to God and his response to us. See, faith becomes the normal atmosphere. It's the setting, it's the ground, it's the cultivated land in which we live our lives. Because we live in a world where the larger seems to be the better. How often do we do that? So many people are not saying prayers, but they're saying, give me more, give me better situations. Here Jesus contests this point by suggesting that our faith is something very small, but it can be something much greater. So it's not a dream of something large, it's not a dream of something that's great. It starts with something very small. And by trusting God, we can face each and every situation that might lie before us. And for those disciples, they really had to face those kind of challenges because there were things that they had to do in the early life of the Christian church that were way over and above what we can imagine ever doing. Have you ever had a challenge in your life and you've really wondered what to do? We've heard somebody involved in chaplaincy today. And very often, if you're involved in that kind of work, you're hanging around listening to conversations and you're really wondering what you can say. It's because life is very challenging for many people. I think of young people who are looking at the future. What will they do with their lives? I think of people who've got challenges in their work and in their family life. It's as if Jesus is saying to the disciples, your faithfulness is what will make all the difference. If you put this faith that is as small as a grain of mustard into practice, then it will change the situations that you're in. And what does it mean to put your faith into practice? Well, you've got to work that out, and I've got to work that out. But I know that it doesn't mean being confident about yourself. It doesn't mean to say, I've got it all worked out. As we've said, a chaplain might, on this NRL day, we might be thinking of people who'll be really wishing their team to do well. The chaplain won't be doing that. He'll be actually behind the scenes saying, do the very best you can. What matters is you give 110% of effort, commitment and agility to the work that you're called to do. But it doesn't demand necessarily that you're going to always have victory, because it won't always be like that. But faithfulness is what makes all the difference. You go out there with faith, with commitment. And in life, we need to go out there, whatever our going out there is. It's not in a great stadium, it's in the stadium of life, where we have to exercise our faith and our hope. And it's that faithfulness that will fundamentally and ultimately make all the difference to the way our lives work out.
If you would like to contact Keith and find out more about today's program, write to us at Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A 5555, Sydney South 1235, or you can send us an email to impacttv@wesleymission.org.au. On our website, you can catch up on past episodes of Wesley Impact, find out more about our work, read online magazines and articles, and connect with us on social media. You can also connect through Keith's blog and stay up to date on all the latest news and information from Wesley Mission, wesleymission.org.au.
Contact details are on the screen now, and we also like to keep you in touch with all the things that are happening at the moment into the future. So we're going to look at that, but don't forget, come to us if there's anything that we can do to help you.
Wesley Mission is holding a Wills Day on Thursday the 31st of October at the Campbelltown Catholic Club, where you can have your will professionally prepared by an independent solicitor from as little as $60. Bookings are essential, so please visit wesleymission.org.au/wills to reserve your appointment. The 106th Annual Wesley Fair is coming up on Thursday the 7th of November. This event is a highlight on the Sydney CBD calendar and features amazing entertainment, a fashion parade, an exciting auction and much, much more. By coming to the fair, you'll not only find great bargains, but you'll also be supporting the refurbishment of the Wesley Edward Eager Centre for the homeless. Wesley Conference Centre is one of Sydney's premier conference venues. Our centre's wide range of multi-purpose conference rooms is fully supported by in-house catering and our on-site audiovisual team. The Wesley Conference Centre is your ideal CBD venue for all your conference needs.
We keep reminding you of the website. It's on the screen again now. Information of the events that we have coming up can be found there. I hope you found thoughts about faith to be of interest and the desire for greater faith meaningful. And also that you felt that the conversation with George Dansey was interesting. Thank you once again for your time, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. It's always good to hear from people and make contact with regular friends and viewers of Wesley Impact. So, same time next week, you join us, and God bless you.
Wesley Mission walks alongside people of all ages struggling with homelessness, addictions, mental health issues and financial stress. To find out more, visit wesleymission.org.au.